Welcome, Middlers, to the Medium in the Middle podcast. My name is Stephanie, and I take you on a journey of self-discovery and spiritual exploration. I am a Reiki Master Teacher, a spiritual and business mentor, and of course, a psychic medium. And I am here to share my story and help you tap into your extraordinary abilities. Join me every Wednesday as we dive into the realms of intuition, energy healing, and all things mystical. Whether you're a seasoned spiritual seeker or just dipping your toes into the magical waters, this podcast is your go-to source for inspiration, guidance, and a whole lot of lessons and laughter along the way. Let's get started. Hello, Middlers. Welcome to episode 261. My name is Stephanie. I am the medium in the middle, and I am coming at you today with a little mediumship story, and it's going to be an episode of Medium in the Middle Shorts because it's a short story, but it's powerful, and I think that it's really important to share. There was some conversation online about my name, Medium in the Middle, and why do I call myself Medium in the Middle if I don't offer mediumship readings? And this came about after the April Fool's joke where I said I was offering mediumship readings for $10,000. And I just want to talk about that for a second because you can be a medium and not offer mediumship readings. You can be a medium and not do mediumship. You can still connect with spirit and not do it for money. I think when we put labels on things, we think mediums do mediumship readings. But you can still be a medium and not offer paid mediumship readings. I have mediumship stories happen to me all of the time, and I still share them on this podcast. And while this podcast isn't just mediumship, it is still through mediumship that I have Reiki and Psyche and Akashic Records and all the other things that have fell under my spiritual umbrella. And I'm just sharing this because, yes, I'm still the medium in the middle, even though I don't offer paid mediumship readings. But also, when you're putting labels on yourself or what you do or what you offer, you don't have to pigeonhole yourself into just one thing. You can do and be many things. And I think when we think medium, we think a professional paid medium. Like I've said many times before, I believe lots of people are mediums, all to varying degrees and varying talent. I always use the example of skating. Can some people skate? Yes. Do some people skate casually? Yes. Do some people go to the Olympics? Yes. So there's kind of lots of different levels that you can be at, but I'm still medium in the middle. I'm still a medium. I still am in the middle of everything, in the middle of spirit, in between you and your guides, in between you and higher self, in between you and the Akashic Records. I'm in the middle of everything. So today we're doing a little medium in the middle mediumship story to bring us back to our roots. Before we jump into that story, I'm very excited to tell you about the Advanced Reiki Practitioner Masterclass happening on May 3rd. You guys asked for this course to happen more often. I usually only host it live once a year. This year I'm going to do it twice a year live. So it's happening on May 3rd. And it's a 4-hour masterclass for after your Reiki Level 2. So if you are a Reiki Level 2 practitioner from any master, any lineage of Reiki, this masterclass was designed for you. For those people who want to focus on working in Reiki, if you want to build your clientele, if you want to expand your skills, it's continued education for after Level 2. All the things I feel are missing from Level 2 that you cannot teach in Level 2. It would just be an overwhelming amount of information. So this is recommended for 3 to 6 months after your Reiki Level 2 course, again, from any master, specifically designed to master your client experience, gain a deeper understanding of how to work with energy, and we move into advanced Reiki techniques. I love, love, love this course. So I'm only going to be offering it twice live this year. The next time will be in the fall in October. So May 3rd, go and sign up. I will leave that link down below in the show notes. It does include the replay, so either join me live or catch the replay. My next Reiki Level 1 is happening on May 10th and 11th. I always do a Level 1 on Mother's Day weekend. Give yourself a beautiful gift for Mother's Day in May. And the next level 2 is April 26th and 27th and May 24th and 25th. The last quick announcement is the monthly mediumship practice circle is April 19th. It's on a Saturday. Again, anyone is welcome. If you want to practice mediumship, you are welcome to the mediumship practice circle. Those are all my announcements. Thank you for listening. You supporting me helps support my business, Medium in the Middle, and it helps me keep this podcast going. I've been doing this for 261 episodes, and while I don't get paid for doing the podcast, I do find it's a direct funnel into my business. So any appointment you book or course you take with me, mediumship circle that you join with me is so appreciated. You are supporting a little small business up in Banff, Alberta. So thank you. And thank you for listening to the announcements every week. So I want to talk about this little mediumship story, and I'm going to give a little, I guess, pre-story explanation. So being a medium, and I hate putting labels on these things, but I would say like a highly intuitive person, as I hate putting labels on it. It makes me kind of like gag, but anyways, I would say I'm highly intuitive. So as a medium and someone who listens to their intuition very well, whatever you want to say. Anyways, whenever I say something random, if I'm going to give a random example, it's never random. So I will say this a lot. I will be like, okay, like for example, like if your grandma always wore purple shoes and she always was known for wearing purple shoes. And in my head, I try to think of like something so crazy that could not actually be a real example. And it always ends up being like, how'd you know my grandma used to always wear purple shoes? She did literally always wear purple shoes. She had purple shoes. She had some purple slippers. And I'm always like, oh, like I was trying to give like the most crazy random example to like not have it be an intuitive message, because every time I try to do something random, it is from spirit. So this was one of those times where I was trying to think of something that was like so out there, and I was like, please don't be an actual spirit connection. Like I'm trying to think of something random. So I was doing an Akashic Record reading. My Akashic Record readings are open. I just only do 2 every Friday. So that's why they kind of book up far in advance, but you can still book them. So I was doing an Akashic Record reading, and I was reading for a woman, and a lot of her questions were around her son that had passed and why she had to lose her son and questions to that nature. And it was a very emotional reading. And at the end, she was kind of asking how the records work. So in an Akashic Record reading, at the start of the reading, I kind of explain the flow and how it works. And then I go into your records. And when I'm in your records, I explain it as I can only talk about you from your perspective. So you can't talk to me as Steph. It's like my brain gets moved aside and I can only be in your records. So sometimes people will like ask my opinion about things. I can't answer. I just stutter. Sometimes people will ask me to repeat. I can very rarely repeat things because, again, they're not thoughts. It's just channeled information. So I always say that in advance. I'm like, hey, listen, it'll be on the recording if you need it to be repeated, but there's a few things like I can't answer in the records. But once I'm out of your records, then we can talk about it, because I can still hear myself in the records, and I've taught myself to listen to the reading. So while it's kind of like they take over my mouth and I feel just like a puppet, I still listen so that when I'm done the reading, we can still discuss it, because I was listening. I can remember what was said. That took a long time to learn. But anyways, I explained this to her. So when I get out of the records, we can discuss things. So I got out of the records, and she was kind of asking me how it works. And I was trying to explain it to her kind of the way I did there. And I said that the records are really interesting because whatever random examples they give me are not random, because I'm in your records. So if I say, oh, they're showing me a garden and da-da-da, and they're using garden references, it's because you're a gardener. If they're showing me car references, it's because you're an avid car person. So the references that they use in your records are never random because it's your records. So because I was out of her records at this point and I couldn't give her an actual example, I was like, so like, for example, if they were talking about your son and they were trying to say that, and my brain tried to go to think of something crazy. So I was like, he drove a purple car or something like that. It would make sense because in this case, just as an example, like he did drive a purple car. And I said purple car because I've never seen a purple car. I don't think they're just not a popular car. So I was like, oh, if I say purple car, that's kind of like a crazy example, where if I said like a black or white car, like those are everywhere. And the mother of this person who I was reading, she just smiles at me and she's like, you are a medium. And I was like, what? And she smiled at me and she kind of paused and she said, oh, you're still a medium, Steph. And I was like, uh-oh. And she was like, he did drive a purple car. And I was like, of course he did. Like, the random examples are never random. But it was like a beautiful moment because after the records, I feel like she got a little message from her son that he was around. And again, after the records, it was still a little like, ooh, I still got it. Like, even when I'm not trying, it's still there. Spirit just sneaks in. But that's exactly how mediumship works, is they just sneak in. That happens a lot where I'll say things and it's like, oh, my grandma used to always say okie dokie. Why'd you just say okie dokie? I'm like, oh, I never say okie dokie unless it's spirit. So things like that just happened. But I want to share this story because I want you to pay attention to these things. I had a mentorship call with someone yesterday and she was saying that, who was practicing her mediumship. And she was saying that she was talking to this guy and he asked her a question and she said back like a snide remark that she would never say. Like, she was like, mind your own business. She was like, but I said it as a joke. And she's like, but I would never say that. I would never tell. And it was a client of hers. She's like, I would never tell a client of mine to mind their own business. She's like, it was kind of rude, but I meant it as a joke. And she was like, but at that time we were talking about mediumship and she was asking him if she could read for him to practice. And then immediately after she said that, she felt like it was either his mom or his grandma that was kind of sassy like that would say, mind your own business. So it's little things like that where, yes, it's not a full reading, but it was just a little way that spirit sneaks in. And, the next time if she actually does practice with this guy, she can say, and when did your mom say like something sassy, like, mind your own business? Because that's not something she would normally say. So just be aware of the random examples. They're not random. Of things that you say that are out of normal. Like if you would never say okie dokie. If you would never say mind your own business. If you randomly start humming. If you can't stop playing with your hair. All of these very, very small mannerisms are ways that spirit can send you messages. And they're not always on the top of mind. So again, this is a very small story. All I said to this lady was as if he was driving a purple car. And she just smiled and said, my son did drive a purple car. And it was still a beautiful way for spirit to get a message to her. So I wanted to share this little mini mediumship story with you. To tell you medium in the middle is still medium. I still got it. But also I want you guys to pay attention to these little things. Again, purple car, that means nothing to me. It meant everything to her. And it was a beautiful way for her son to come through and get her a message of, yes, even though the Akashic Records, we weren't connecting to him, it was a very sneaky way for him to show up. So pay attention to mannerisms, little things, sentences that you say. Do you hum? Do you play with your hair? Do you tap your foot? Anything that's out of the ordinary can be spirit. And it usually is. Same thing with random examples. So keep an eye on what you say. You've heard me say it a million times. Write it down. Write it down, write it down, write it down. So thank you everyone for listening. 261 episodes. Oh my gosh. If you want my full mediumship story from the beginning, I share from episode 1. 1 to 10, the first 10 episodes are really when my mediumship opened up quick and fast. So if you are a developing medium looking to not feel so alone, go back to those first 10 episodes and they will probably really help you with what you're going through. And then I've been sharing my journey ever since, going through mediumship, deciding to stop, spirit going quiet, spirit going loud, all of the things that have happened over the last 7 or 8 years. Lots of good information packed into 261 episodes. Oh my gosh. I am a podcast elder at this point. If you want to book an appointment with me, I offer my services in Banff, Alberta, and virtually. I will leave all the links you need down below in the show notes, along with the links to book a Reiki course, the advanced course, the Mediumship Practice Circle. Everything's in the show notes or on themediuminthemiddle.com. But until next Wednesday, Midlers, when I see you in your ears, I hope you have a wonderful week.